As geopolitics has now taken center stage in shaping the domestic and foreign policies of nation-states, this trend largely aligns with the principles of political realism, where states aim to survive in an anarchical international order by maximizing power and wealth while minimizing losses. In an era characterized by rapid ecological, economic, and technological changes, as well as uncertainty and conflicting dynamics in international politics, geopolitical narratives have captured the attention of statesmen, journalists, academics, policy analysts, and military strategists. The new geopolitics has moved from an entirely state-centric approach to alliance formation, interdependence, and globalization, including struggle over the role and influence of democracy in the international order. This new shift of geopolitics has not left African countries out, as a number of nations are forming new alliances that are changing the entire game of geopolitics. President Ibrahim Traore and his colleagues in the Alliance of Sahel states leading the immense formation of new global alliances without a need to go back to previous ones, is marked as one of the boldest moves so far taken on the African continent. After coming out boldly to declare that Burkina Faso is now no longer an ally with the West and simultaneously welcoming Russia, President Ibrahim Traore is continuously pushing himself for more allies that are mostly not in line with the West's interests. New nations globally are utilizing the opportunity to develop mutual cooperation with Burkina Faso in various ways, a thing which President Ibrahim Traore is in dire need to ensure that his services for Burkina Faso are well executed, without the need to fill the gap left by the expulsion of the West. Through a number of visits and talks, President Ibrahim Traore does a remarkable move by welcoming Venezuela and Cuba in an effort to strengthen Burkina Faso against destabilizers plus economic growth and development. Both Venezuela and Cuba are known for their shared revolutionary ideology and animosity toward the United States, which is expected to continue unabated despite changing economic and political circumstances in both states, brings out a broader perspective of how President Ibrahim Traore is creating totally West-resistive alliances. While the US-led sanctions campaign against both Cuba and Venezuela threatens to undermine the integrity of the relationship and the mutual benefits it provides, President Ibrahim Traore sees an advantage in welcoming these two Bolivarian nations. At the invitation of the Venezuelan government, representatives from Burkina Faso government paid a friendship and working visit to Caracas, Venezuela recently. This visit serves as part of the strengthening of relations of friendship and cooperation between Burkina Faso and the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela, in accordance with the Memorandum of Understanding on the establishment of a consultation mechanism between Burkina Faso and the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela. With regard to bilateral consultation mechanisms, the two countries agreed to revitalize cooperation, particularly in the areas of health, agriculture, education, security, mining, oil, culture, air transport, communication and information, electoral issues, human rights, and all sectors of major shared interest. As President Ibrahim Traore is on the verge of completely eliminating militant groups from Burkina Faso, both countries expressed their deep concern about the situation and security in the Sahel, especially terrorism, violent extremism, drug trafficking and organized crime, poverty and threats to peace and stability. Venezuela and Cuba showed their interest in working along with President Ibrahim Traore's efforts against insurgency. By both nations paying visits to Burkina Faso, their continued willingness to support President Ibrahim Traore's efforts against various challenges faced by Burkina Faso continued to take shape. Cuba's firm commitment to Venezuela in the face of US pressure highlights a strong partnership between both states stretching back across 2 decades. While Cuba's support for Venezuela has contributed to the persistence of the current regime, continued US pressure may harden the two countries' resolve and lead to a deepening of their relationship. The Cuban-Venezuelan relationship has revolved around a series of economic and security agreements that provide a strong underpinning for bilateral ties. While the United States continues to monitor the two countries' relationship closely as it works to resolve the Venezuelan crisis, President Ibrahim Traore is seeing an advantage of aligning and entering into mutual cooperation with them. As President Ibrahim Traore seeks to strengthen Burkina Faso's security, most especially destabilizers, a collection of military support from various areas across the globe is crucial. So far so good, President Ibrahim Traore has managed to gather a number of partners that have assisted greatly in a fight against insurgency through the provision of training, troops, and military equipment. While the Cuba-Venezuela plus Burkina Faso alliance represents a key challenge to the resolution of the crisis, Washington should not place unique emphasis on the partnership's dissolution as a be-all, end-all solution. The United States is now facing a hard decision to focus on a holistic, multilateral approach to the crisis that accounts for all possible policy solutions and factors and incorporates other partners. US policymakers have been facing the double-edged effect of the sanctions on a number of nations such as Russia, China, Iran, Venezuela, Cuba, among others, a thing which the new Trump administration is looking into deeper to find solutions. While Burkina Faso and its allies are facing sanctions, the United States and its allies are left with a challenge to monitor these nations' relationship closely as the West works to resolve the various crises occurring in them. While the Trump administration may not repeal the current sanctions on these nations anytime soon, it is left to approach the crises with the realistic understanding that the alliances will not crumble easily. The long list of economic and security benefits gained among these alliances motivate their continuation. On one level, these nations can point to the joint triumphs achieved together within the framework of their respective alliances, which suggests that these nations will see the current standoff with the United States and the West at large as another opportunity to weather political storms together. On another level, the shared efforts against the West will further ground the relationship in a way that a shared revolutionary ideology never could. The longevity and rise of new partnerships is based around a diplomatic reciprocity that has witnessed each state come to the other's aid in moments of deep crisis. For example, Venezuela's economic aid to Cuba during the tail end of the special period represented an act of solidarity that Havana greatly appreciated at a time when the PCC felt vulnerable to internal and external pressures. The Soviet Union is remembered for supporting African National Congress in a move for the Black African community to receive justice in South Africa. With those and rising frequent assistance among these nations is creating a strong, unbreakable bond among them. President Ibrahim Traore wants Burkina Faso to be part of this team of nations willing to be free from the West that is accused of wanting to dominate without mutual benefit.